Christmas, the time of year when the PS5 you so desperately pleaded for to your family somehow turned into a floss like a boss t-shirt. But Christmas is also the time of year to gather around the fireplace with your family and watch classics like Elf, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, The Grinch, Grumpy Cat Christmas. And this year, I really wanted to expand my taste, to find something that's so bad it instantly ascends to fame like these other classics. Well, I present to you Santa with Muscles. If you're not hooked just off of the title alone, maybe you're interested in the main star of the show, WWE wrestler and our brother in arms, Hulk Hogan. And the box office was absolutely stunning. It even came so close to Avatar, grossing $300,000 in 2 weeks. Avatar made $2.9 billion? No, that's not even relatively close. Yeah, I know the CGI is good. Anyways though, let's get into the movie. The movie begins with a little girl from an orphanage named Elizabeth, monologuing in her journal to Santa, explaining that the town is being terrorized by someone named Mr. Frost, which just might be the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. She has just completely given up on Jesus and gone straight to Santa. Then the legend Hulk Hogan comes running out and boom, RKO's her. Okay, let's get back on track. Hulk Hogan plays a character named Blake Thorne, who is a completely insufferable, out of touch multimillionaire. And they kick off the introduction to his character with the most goofy fight scene ever, where this apparent bad guy holding machete is bent over sniffing flowers, as if that's something that people just normally do.
Never stop to smell the roses.
Get wrecked! Bro, he just Fortnite emoted on you. This quickly escalates into a full-blown fight scene with all of these different characters, and it's very clear to me there's a specific reason they wrote the beginning of the movie this way, but I'm going to explain that to you later, so just remember that for now.
Time. 4 minutes. 23 seconds.
It turns out everyone here are his employees, and this is just a way he exercises. Like we're just supposed to go, oh, he was exercising. That's normal behavior. He's also your perfectly normal, heartless millionaire as he refuses to give money to non-profits.
One of those non-profit organizations called inquiring about a Christmas fundraiser they want to hold here at the Mensch.
Haven't you learned anything? If you give them a taste, they want more.
Ooh, okay, I thought things were getting unrealistic for a second. Suddenly, for some reason, Blake leaves his mansion to enter a paintball competition, and someone literally runs over a cop car just because. Of course, using logic, this turns into a police chase, and Blake, he's a quirky guy. One of his biggest quirks throughout the movie is he has this set of rules he has to quote at random times. For example, he says never surrender as he sprays red paintballs at a police car.
Hey, why don't you just pull over?
Rule number 20, never surrender.
And they decide to escalate things from there as they shoot with a real shotgun at him. They went straight to lethal without any regards for human life. Blake then decides to jump out of the car as an attempt to escape and approaches a shopping mall in the distance. Meanwhile, inside, the staff for the mall Santa is struggling as they can't find Santa anywhere. Yeah. You already know what's gonna happen. The best way I can describe this movie is it honestly feels weirdly AI generated because they just throw you around scene to scene without any correlation to the last one. As from here, they jump us immediately into a scene of a man being held hostage upside down. And the only explanation for this being Mr. Frost wants to buy his shoe store or he's going to torture him.
I do hope we can reach an agreement on the sale of your shoe store.
I'm not selling my shoe store.
Woke culture has completely ruined the spirit of Christmas. I miss the good old days when Christmas movies would feature a good old torture scene. Anyways, where were we? Blake enters the mall, and when sneaking around, he emerges in a full-blown Santa costume. Then he gets approached by a child and his father, and boom! 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I've got to stop doing that. In an attempt to escape the cops, he decides to hide in the garbage chute, and someone drops an entire Santa statue down, which would definitely kill someone. But somehow it didn't end up killing him, although it did give him amnesia. This is where Lenny, the mall elf, convinces him that he's actually Santa and needs to get to work. There's also this really weird angle in the movie where Lenny is obsessed with money, but suddenly 2 thieves appear and steal from the mall. I can feel his presence. The spirit of Hulk Hogan emerges from Santa's body and destroys these 2 thieves, instantly becoming a hero and saving the day. During all of this, the shoe store man is still being tortured by Mr. Frost, and his plan is finally revealed that he wants to take over the orphanage building.
I still have one last headache. The orphanage. Round up the troops and see if we can convince our little friends to adopt a new attitude.
Absolutely cold-blooded and kind of savage if you ask me. It's rare that we get a villain that's just so evil for the sake of it. To scare everyone off, Mr. Frost sends his goons to the orphanage to terrorize the place, and in perfect timing, Santa shows up to the rescue. Huh. How convenient. Saving the day, they actually invite him in for dinner. Although he doesn't remember, he's still a wanted criminal who got in a gunfight with police that same morning. And now he's been invited to hang out in the orphanage. While eating, Elizabeth asks a completely normal question.
Leslie, can we keep him, please?
Elizabeth, he's not a dog.
What about me?
Yo, pause. Not around the children, man. They decide to stay the night in the orphanage, and every time there's some kind of plot hole in the story, they find the most straightforward way of solving it. For example, they clearly didn't want to have Hulk Hogan in the Santa beard for the entire movie, so like an idiot, he just comes out without the beard.
You forgot your,
Mrs. Claus says it tickles, so I just wear it for deliveries.
What if he just takes off his beard and it's okay? Suddenly, a news crew shows up at the front door expecting to interview Santa with muscles as he's become famous overnight. And my bro is completely dripped out. Look at the fit. This is where that bit with Lenny the elf comes into play once again because he tries to steal money through an ATM using a glass of milk on a fingerprint scanner, which is some super advanced technology for 1996. But ignoring that, the ultimate plot twist happens. Lenny is working for Mr. Frost.
Mr. Frost, pleasure to see you. I was just working on repaying that loan.
We're then taken to a scene in the church where Elizabeth is singing a song alongside Blake, believing and hoping that singing this will make fairies appear.
If I sing it just right, I might be able to wake up the fairies in the window.
Fairies?
Elizabeth, once again, ignoring Jesus. Okay, so she draws the line at Jesus, but then Santa and fairies are totally okay. But in all seriousness, if this seems like the most random thing to bring up in the middle of the movie, it's because it is. The whole point of this scene is solely to introduce a new concept that's going to appear later in the movie, and they just needed a way to explain it, so take a mental note here. Back at the orphanage, the goons show up once again, this time causing more havoc. And Santa, of course, sends them to Pound Town. And something I haven't been able to mention up until this point is there's this one kid named Taylor, and he is almost non-verbal, so he just watches this whole fight in complete horror. And for some reason, this causes him to crash out, run away, and go on a secret ops mission with the simple goal of taking out Mr. Frost via slingshot. Don't show up to school tomorrow. Bro had absolutely no conviction in those eyes. After reeling Taylor back from irreversible damage on his life, it's randomly introduced that under the church, there's a secret vault Indiana Jones style, and inside of that is this massive cave.
I am Steve.
And if you remember Elizabeth singing to the fairies, it was all for this moment.
These are what must make the church windows glow.
These are the fairies?
The fairies are real. The fairies are real. The fairies are real. After this, back at the orphanage, the goons show up once again, and Santa wins a 1v1 only to be thrown out by an animatronic and landing in a garbage truck. And of course, by the time he wakes up, his memories are magically restored because they needed to solve this plot line before the end of the movie. And it's here that Mr. Frost's true plan is finally revealed. He is after that secret vault in the church's basement, and he needs the children to open it.
I'd like you to open that vault. Prepare them for mining.
I love old movies so much because if you pitch the idea today that the villain is going to kidnap orphans, spray gas in their face, and then force them into child labor, you would just get the electric chair. Finally, Santa gets over himself and calling way back to the beginning so they can have this big Avengers Endgame moment. They bring his staff from the first scene in the movie and rally them up so they can help him save the children. Chef's kiss, absolute cinema. Typically, in a Christmas movie, while haunted by their own past, the selfish main character has a change in tone and behavior, but Blake, he's just built different. Because once again, he just speeds completely past the cops, and they pull out a bazooka on him. And finally, we have a massive Wakanda-style battle with Blake 1v1ing Mr. Frost. Defeating him, everyone has to escape because now the church that the children have been living next to is going to collapse. The cops show up just in time to arrest Mr. Frost and his crew. And then Blake just gets off completely free as if they weren't trying to use lethal force on him 20 minutes ago. And then it's just over. Wow, perfect. I'm glad everything worked itself out. It's so clear to me why this movie has one of the lowest scores I've ever seen on Rotten Tomatoes with only 23%. But anyways, guys, that's all of the time I have for this video. If you enjoyed this, I make more content like it you can check out on my channel. And I also make pop music as well. I'm going to play that at the end of this video, and if you're interested, that's in the description. And yeah, peace out.
If you wanna go ride, you know I'm saving up pocket change for a deeper life.